Hey guys, it's the Villaman here, home theater enthusiast and lover of all things tech, and today we're talking about the AWOL Vision LTV-3000 Pro ultra short throw projector, and it's actually one of the most interesting projectors I've seen from a price to performance to features perspective. Now, AWOL Vision is a relatively new company which has burst onto the scene with some projectors that I can only describe as feature packed, and this LTV-3000 Pro sits just below their flagship LTV-3500 Pro, and today we'll be looking at that LTV-3000 Pro, so stick around. So let's dive into the box and see just what we get. It is double box, which is always good to see, and when you open the box, in there you'll find a USB stick with some sample 3D videos, an unfocused user manual, batteries and the projector remote, note the distinction there, a Fire Stick 4K streaming stick that has a designated spot in the back of the projector, a pair of active 3D glasses, a card with warranty and support information, and finally the projector itself. The front is a sleek and glossy black with a minimalist design, and the only thing up front is the AWOL Vision logo as well as a gold band stretching across the front of the face. On the back are two HDMI 2.0 ports, with one having the ARC, an auxiliary input jack, Ethernet, USB-A and USB-C ports, and an optical output. To the right of that is the section designated for the Fire Stick installation. It has another USB port for power and another HDMI port. Installing the Fire Stick is as easy as plugging it into the HDMI port and attaching the stick's USB power cable to the USB port that's right beside it. Then you put the housing back on and you're good to go. Setting up the projector is also pretty straightforward, and the unit itself has a basic OS that allows you to select the HDMI inputs and browse media. But any sort of smart functionality will be handled by the Fire Stick with the Fire OS built in. During the setup process, you can link your Amazon account and your Prime Video account for streaming content, as well as to download other apps. Okay, so time for my impressions. The first thing you notice is just how bright and vivid the projector is. AWOL really did a great job with the color reproduction and brightness output. And since it supports all the HDR standards, including HDR10+ and Dolby Vision, then you can play content in their native formats, including those with dynamic metadata for scene-to-scene brightness control like HDR10+ and Dolby Vision. It doesn't have to be tone mapped to the basic HDR10, which is typically what I've seen on projectors, but nowadays more and more projectors are getting Dolby Vision. The projector is definitely one you can use with the lights on if you have an ALR screen. It'll be a bit washed out, of course, because you can't escape that aspect of using an ultra short throw projector with the lights on, but the image on screen is bright enough so it wasn't a problem in my room with the lights on. The triple laser design displays over 1 billion colors, which means it supports 10-bit color and can display over 100% of Rec 2020. I didn't have a chance to measure the projector, so I couldn't tell you in definitive terms what the picture accuracy is, like the Delta E for grayscale and color reproduction. But to my eye, it looked very good, especially in a dark room. There are some picture anomalies caused when recording a laser projector, but just know that in person, it looked absolutely great. It was vivid but not oversaturated. The contrast was pretty good too, but it was in line with other ultra short throw laser projectors I've seen where the black levels aren't completely black, they are raised somewhat. But I don't think you can escape that on ultra short throw laser projectors, or at least I just haven't seen that yet. For gamers, the projector has what AWOL calls a 8-millisecond turbo game mode, so that would be great for anyone who wants to do more than just casual gaming on their setup, where you could actually play competitive FPS games and have that on a giant 150-inch screen. Now that would be awesome. Now, these are my impressions from using the projector in my home theater before I moved, and if you haven't seen the video where I give you a tour of the new space, then you should definitely check it out in the card that's linked up there. But because of certain circumstances, I don't think I'll be able to complete a review anytime soon. So I wanted to share my impressions at least with you and to let you know what I think about it. And so now I'll go over what I think the best points are and some of the weaknesses. First and foremost, brightness and color reproduction are some of the best I've seen, and it's definitely top of the class. It's one of the brightest projectors I've seen, and the colors look very good. It also has 3D video support, which is not something you often see, especially on ultra short throw laser projectors. So there are some people out there with extensive Plex libraries and stacks of DVDs that are just gonna love that feature. The projector is also pretty silent, where you can't hear it from your seating position even in those quiet scenes with the laser at max brightness, which is really good because I've seen some projectors with fans that get really loud once you have the laser output set to the maximum. It also has support for all the HDR standards, including those with dynamic metadata like HDR10 Plus and Dolby Vision, which is great because that means that content won't have to be tone mapped from those standards to the basic HDR10 to support your display. It can be displayed in its native HDR format, which is, in line with the creator's intent. And finally, the price to performance and features for this projector is kind of crazy. As of making this video, the price for the projector is $39.99, well, $4,000, but with all it offers, I think that's a pretty good price. There are some things I didn't like about the projector. First and foremost is the fact that the HDMI port only has an ARC port, not an EARC, because the EARC port can transmit lossless audio from devices connected directly to the projector to your sound system, so you get better audio. But with an ARC port, you can only transmit lossy audio Dolby Digital as opposed to the lossless Dolby True HD. So as far as audio goes, you won't be getting the full dynamics from any device connected directly to the projector. Also, the dual remotes for the Fire Stick and the projector and the Fire TV OS in general is kind of clunky and not as responsive as I'd like to see. So not as responsive as you'd see from some Android implementations or Apple TV for that matter. So if I had to buy this projector, I would forgo the Fire Stick entirely and just use an Apple TV streaming box or an Android one. And if you're buying this projector, you probably have a streaming box already, so I just use that instead. Also, when watching 3D videos, the 3D video type resets after every video is finished. So if you are playing videos in succession, then you have to go back to the menu and change it to the 3D type of the video every time a new video starts, which is kind of tedious and could border on annoying, but depends on you and what you're watching. So if you're watching a movie, it won't be as big of an issue, but if you're watching successive short videos, then it could be an issue where you have to go in and change the settings every time. I didn't see an option to make the 3D video type being displayed persistent, which would help. But those are my impressions from using the AWOL Vision LTV-3000 Pro ultra short throw projector in my home theater. I think the pros outweigh the cons by a significant margin, and just from my impression so far, I can say it's one of the best ultra short throw laser projectors I've had in my home theater, and I don't have any problem recommending it once you keep those caveats I mentioned in mind. It's definitely a reference performer that can produce an image up to 150 inches, and it's only their second best. But yeah, I've left links in the description for anyone who wants to learn more or buy one. And thanks to AWOL for sending the projector out for me to check out. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then make sure to do that for more updates as far as building out my new home theater and studio/office, because there's a lot more to come, and as soon as I get the time to actually make and edit these videos, of course. Thanks for watching, and like the video to see more of my videos, and subscribe if you haven't. Until next time, this has been your friendly neighborhood villain man saying be safe and peace.